Hello students, welcome once again to our wonderful math class. I know that you are going to enjoy today's lesson. So come along and let's begin. Still, we are on Surds. We are not yet done. You remember in the previous lessons or in the previous lesson, we discussed how to rationalize sets. With those ones, it only had one set as a denominator, right? Yes. So today in this lesson, our major goal is to take a look at something quite different. So look at the example on the board. What do you see? Is it different from what we did in the previous lesson? That's true. And how different is it? Can you share your idea? Yes, it's very true. It's different because in this particular example, we have two sets as our denominator. But in the previous lesson or in the previous video, it was only one. But now we have two sets as our denominator. So in today's class, our objective is to know how we are going to rationalize a set which has two denominators. So I urge you to kindly focus in this particular lesson. So let me ask you a question. If you see a set where in the denominator we have one square root and the other square root, what do? Because you remember that in the previous lesson, we said that when you have the set as a denominator, you multiply the numerator and the denominator by that set. But are we going to use the same method in this particular example? No. So the question is, how do we do that? So follow us. So with this one, the first thing we do is to focus on the denominator once again. The first thing we do will be to focus on the denominator once again. And again, the other thing to do is to check for the signs, whether it's positive or negative. If the sign is positive, what do? And then if it is negative, what do we also do? So focus on the denominator. Always, we multiply the expression in the denominator by the numerator. But if it is positive, do we multiply the numerator and the denominator by a positive sign? No. If it is positive, we multiply it by negative sign. So we multiply the numerator, we change the sign from positive to negative. We multiply it by the numerator and then the denominator. Maybe this is a little bit confusing. So let's go over it again. I'm saying that with the expression, we have the numerator and the denominator, right? Now, with the denominator, we have two different expressions there, both having the square root sign. And it can be positive or negative, right? So we are saying that with the denominator, if it the sign there is positive, what do? We change the positive sign to a negative sign, and we multiply the same expression by the numerator and the denominator. So let's see with the example on the board how this is done. So we have, with the example we have, what do you see? Yes, you see that we have square root of 2 as a denominator plus square root of 5, right? Okay. Now, we are saying that if you want to rationalize this particular expression, how do we go about it? We check for the sign, whether it is positive or negative. This one, is it positive or negative? It is positive, so we change the sign, right? And then we change it to what? Negative. So we change the sign to negative because the one in the question is positive. That is the conjugate said. So we multiply it by the numerator and then the denominator. So let's try doing that. So we will have our solution. Then we have 2 divided by square root of 2 plus square root of 5. And we are saying that we have our denominator to be square root of 2 plus 5, plus square root of 5. So we find the conjugate said. So what will be the conjugate said? The conjugate said will be we changing the sign from positive to negative. So we are going to have the square root of 2 minus square root of 5 as our conjugate said for the example on the board. So we pick the conjugate said, then we multiply it by the numerator, and we do the same for the denominator, we multiply that. Okay, so let's see how it's done. So we are going to multiply it by square root of 2 minus square root of 5 divided by square root of 2 minus square root of 5. So you can see that the sign on the other side is different from the one on the other side. So the sign on the right hand side is different from the sign on the left hand side. So that's exactly what we are supposed to do. Now, what next do? We multiply, isn't it? Yes. So we multiply the expression on the numerator side and we multiply the expression on the denominator side. So we are going to end up having 2 multiplying the expression square root of 2 minus square root of 5. And then we are going to also have with the denominator square root of 2 plus square root of 5 multiplying the expression square root of 2 minus square root of 5. So with the numerator, we multiply 2 by square root of 2. Then after that, we multiply 2 by minus square root of 5. Now, with this particular part, I need you to pay close attention to something and be very vigilant. You have to be careful with the positive and negative signs. If it is positive and you change, while solving, you change it to negative, it will be wrong. And if it is negative and while solving, you change it to positive, it will be wrong. You know that we multiply positive by positive, our answer will be positive, right? Yes. So we will use that rule. So 2 multiplied by square root of 2, and then we know that our answer will be 2 square root 2. Then 2 multiplies the next expression. You see that we have minus 1 outside the square root sign. So we are going to have 2 minus 1, which is going to give us 2 multiplied by minus 1 to give us minus 2. Then we bring the said, which is square root of 5. All divided by, then we multiply the denominator as well, the expression in the denominator. So we have 2 square root 2 multiplying square root 2. So we know that it's going to give us square root 2 to the power 2. Then square root 2 again multiplies the next expression, which is minus. So you always have to remember minus. So minus square root 5 is going to give us minus. So since the ones in the square root sign are different, you multiply them. So we have 2 multiplied by 5, and that gives us yes 10. So we are going to have square root of 10. Then we multiply the next expression. So the number outside the square root sign is 1, multiplying the other one, which is also 1. Then we now multiply the ones inside the square root sign, which is 5, multiplied by 2. And our answer is going to be 10. But remember that it's going to be positive 10 because it is a positive sign multiplying a positive sign. So we are going to have plus square root of 10. This is right. So we move on to the next expression. So positive square root of 5 multiplied by minus square root of 5. And you know it's going to be negative. Now, we know that they are the same set. So when we multiply them, we are going to have square root of 5 to the power 2. So we are going to have minus square root of 5 all raised to the power 2. And now you know that the power 2 will cancel the square root sign, right? So let's do that. So the power 2 cancels the square root sign, and in effect we have 2 square root 2 minus 2 root of 5 all divided by, we are going to have this expression to be 2. Now what do you see there when you cancel the square root sign and then the power? You are going to have 2, but you have minus square root of 10 and plus square root of 10, right? So you see that they are the same, so we subtract them. So minus square root of 10 plus square root of 10, and the answer will be 0. The answer will be 0. So we are going to end up having plus 0 minus 5. Yeah, you know when the square root sign cancels that, we have 5. So minus 5. Then we are going to have 2 square root of 2 minus 2 square root of 5 all divided by 2 minus 5. We have 2 minus 5 in our denominator. You realize that, do you see the square root signs again? No. This means that we've been able to successfully rationalize our denominator, and that is our main goal. So we now have 2 minus 5, and the answer will give us, yes, negative 3. Negative 3. So we are going to have 2 square root of 2 minus 2 square root of 5 all divided by minus 3. So what would our final answer be? You see that we don't have the square root sign there. So it means that we've been able to rationalize our denominator. So one question, just think about it. If, for instance, we have an expression that has the denominator square root of 2 minus square root of 7, what will be the conjugate said? What will be the conjugate of this particular expression? Just try. Yes, you are right. The answer would be square root of 2 plus square root of 7. That will be the conjugate said. So the answer is going to be square root of 2 plus square root of 7 being our conjugate said. So if you see it, if you get your conjugate said, then you multiply it by the numerator and then the denominator and continue from there. As always, I'm always excited that we get to have these lessons and then you understand. We'll end here, but remember, I'm reminding you that you should always continue to like and subscribe the video. I wish to see you again in the next class. Bye for now.